What is up, guys? Welcome back to the shop. So on last episode we got the main chassis of Project Prelude painted, as you can see. So now it's time to get the thing back on the ground. So we gotta get the wheels on it, put the steering wheel back in, and bolt all the front suspension back up to the shock towers so we can get this thing pushed out of the garage. Two reasons. One, to look at it in the sunlight, and two, I need to make room in here so we can get the rest of the parts painted. So I gotta paint the doors, fenders, deck lid, bumpers, mirrors, handles, you know, all that jazz. So let's get this thing back on the ground and get it pushed out. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and leave a comment down below. Let's get this thing back on the ground. I am pumped. There it is, back on the ground. It needs more low for sure. It sits up too high, but I can't believe how low it sits. I'm so used to the wheel well being way up here. You know, it's 16, 18 inches lower than it was before. It's wild. This thing is low. Compared to everything else I got anyway, it sits really low. So, yeah, cool deal. Well, I'm gonna move the mini Bobcat out of the way and push it outside. See if we can get a little sunlight on it. What's up, guys? All right, so we're through the holidays now, so now we can start focusing back on the car. We've started wet sanding it slightly here. We're gonna start with an 800 grit, and then I think I'm gonna go to 1500, 2000, 2500 and polish. So the whole idea of wet sanding is we wanna get rid of the orange peel. So to do that, we sand. We want to make sure we stay away from all the hard edges because there's clear coats really thin right there that we don't want to burn through and ruin the paint job. So we're going to focus the 800 grit on these big wide open areas, staying away from all these edges, and then we'll work these with a little 2000, maybe 1500 a little bit, just to get rid of the orange peel. So that's that. I'm going to start wet sanding and see how far I can get today. Alright, well, I've been wet sanding this thing for about an hour or so. I hit it with the 800 everywhere. Got the main part of the orange peel removed, and then went back and did 1500 and 2500. Really tried to stay away from these points right here with the 800 and kind of just got it a little bit with the 25 and the 15. Still a little bit of orange peel in here. A little bit down here still, but yeah, you just got to just keep working on it until it's nice and flat. I think what I'm going to do now is get the polisher out and polish this up and see what it looks like. Once you put a polish on it, you can kind of see if there are just a couple little waves in there still that you need to work on. So that's what we're going to do. Let's get some polish on this thing. Okay, so last night I hit this area right here with the polish, and it shined up pretty good. There was still some 800 sanding scratches in there that weren't wanting to polish out, so I went back over the whole thing again with the 2500, and we're now going to polish it up and see what it looks like. It looks good polished. I'm not gonna lie, it looks really good. So I'm gonna get back to polishing. Okay, so I have this thing cut now with the cutting compound. One thing you do want to make sure is that you get all of this polish off of all these spots you don't want it to be, because when it dries, you're not getting it off. It basically turns to a rock. So you want to make sure you keep the door jambs clean, the inner fender area clean. But that's looking pretty damn good. Still got some scratches in it, probably can't see on camera. You can kind of see a little bit of a haze there compared to what it was when it was painted. But it's getting all the big scratches out from the sandpaper. So now I'm going to hit it with the actual polish compound and get rid of all those fine scratches. It's looking pretty flat. There's still just a tad bit of orange peel on there, if I'm going to worry about it or not. I don't know if it'll show up, but I mean, it looks a hell of a lot better than it did before we wet sanded it, for sure. Alright guys, I wet sanded and polished this thing most of the weekend when I had time, and it is looking good. This thing is glassed out and looks like a mirror. It is awesome. So I am super stoked with it. There are a few spots where you can still kind of see just a little bit of kind of ripple in there where we didn't get quite all the orange peel completely flattened out and glassed out. I'm going to call it good for now until the rest of the car is put back together, and then see what it looks like out in the sunlight, and then I'll probably just come back and just wet sand the areas that need a little bit more attention and polish those out rather than going over the whole car again. So I think for tonight, I think what I'm going to do is jump into the engine bay and just kind of cut, wet sand, and buff the firewall out just where we're going to be able to see it, because that did get a little orange peel on it. And then probably go into just cleaning the interior out and getting this thing ready to put back together. I was looking at the tail lights the other day. I have 2 or 3 sets of tail lights. The factory red tail lights, like this one here. I think what I'm going to do is body match this black plastic here. So I'll tape all this off and spray that so that when it's sitting right here next to the body, it's all the exact same color and the match is perfect, rather than having the black with the weird kind of plastic black color and then the red tail light. I also have another set of tail lights, I believe, that are kind of smoked. I got to pull those down and then decide what I like best. So yeah, I think yeah, this thing looks badass. I'm fucking pumped. This is probably one of my best paint jobs I've ever done, so I'm really excited about that. And yeah, just wish the heat was up a little bit more when we painted it, because it did get too cold in here and there was a ton of orange peel on it. But a little bit of elbow grease, we got that all taken care of. So let's get attacking that firewall. Get to attacking that firewall. There we go. Hey, hey, what's up? We're back. Okay, so we got the firewall glassed out, wet sanded, polished, touched up a little bit on the core support. And then, question of the night, because I didn't clean the car out. These are my 2 tail lights. What do I use? Do I use these modified ones that are kind of smoked? Do I use the factory ones and possibly smoke them? I kind of like the little bit darker, blends in a little bit better, doesn't stand out so much. But one of those taillights is broken on this inner housing, so I'll have to do some work to, well, whoever the hell made these, there's glue all over them, so those are going to have some work done to them regardless to make work. But I do kind of like the way that looks. Those are modified, somebody pulled them apart, they cut that center lens out there so it looks nice and clean. I don't know. What do you guys think? Should I modify my own? I don't know. I'm kind of getting lazy at this point. I do like a little bit of a smoked lens on here. I think that looks good on the black car. But damn, look at the paint. It's shiny. It's so shiny. Looks good. Pumped. It's looking good. So since we got all the snow and it's been icy out in the driveway, I haven't had a chance to push this thing out in order to paint the rest of the part, so I just started working on other stuff. So hopefully maybe by this weekend then all the snow and ice will melt and I'll be able to push this thing out maybe for a night or 2 and we can get the rest of the stuff painted. So that being said, I think that I'm at a wrap for what I'm going to do for this one, and when we come back we'll be busting this thing out and getting those other parts painted. So check you later.